Are you coming back to school with me? We could have done it all so easily.
Hi, my name is Craig Thompson Wood. I'm your host on Teaching with Board Games. In the corner of my games room right now because my table is currently set up with something else going on there. So just wanted to make sure I'm getting the video out this week. Today I'm taking a look at Skull by Louis Ming. So Skull is a game of bluffing, of pushing your luck, of trying to know and understand probability. The big thing that you're going to be getting out of Skull, if you're looking for something educational, is the probability, along with all those social skills you have with playing any game. But if you had to narrow it down to something that you're learning sort of curriculum knowledge, it would be the probability in this one. And I'll show you more of what I mean when I take it to the table and show you how it's played. Let's just take a look at the report card for Skull. So looking at the number of players for Skull, I'm going to give it a B+. It plays between 3 to 6 players. B is usually that 2 to 4 range. So this does a little bit more than that. But you do have to have a minimum of 3 players. It doesn't really play well as a 2-player game. So 3 to 6 players, and I think it plays great in any of those numbers. So B+ for number of players. For learning, I'm going to give the game a C. As I said, the game is, you're getting some probability knowledge out of here, and you could, really sort of tease that out if you're looking to try to implement this as some sort of math game. But this would be the kind of game I would mostly just want to include as maybe in a board game club, or having for recess things, or I wouldn't really say quiet time activities, because although there's noise is not required in this game, it does tend to get a little bit excitable when you play this. So overall, like I say, C for learning. For fun, I'm going to give the game an A. As I alluded to before, the game you tend to get quite excited in those moments of just like oh and such when you're playing it. So I haven't played this game with a group of people that have not liked it. It's one of those games that it's very simple, easy to grasp, and once you play it, you usually play it like a few times because it's so fast. Which is getting to my next one. So A for fun. If you haven't already guessed it, I'm going to be giving it an A+ for time. The game is super fast. It says 15 to 45 minutes. I cannot imagine a game of this going 45 minutes long. That would be people who are overanalyzing it to the nth degree. I guess that's for the people who really want to take it to the level of probability and figure out all the percentages of what's the chance that you have. So just I wouldn't want to play with people like that. The game is fun as a fast-paced, fun game. Just for cost, I'm going to give the game an A. The game is just a bunch of cards, so it's relatively inexpensive. Level Up sells this for about $18, and so if you want to get a copy of this for your classroom, it's not anything that's going to be breaking the bank. Or for your home too. I mean, it's a relatively cheap game. And you'll get a lot of use out of, a lot of play out of, so you're definitely getting your money's worth out of this. All right, let me take it to the table, and I'll show you how this game is played. Okay, so this is a 4-player setup for the game of Skull. Each of the players gets like one of these coasters with 4 cards on it. Each card has 3 flowers and 1 skull card. So different cultures represented here. I've never actually look too much into what these different cultures are, or what species of flowers those are, but yeah, beautiful artwork on these, and this may be something that could lead to an art lesson if you have students who would be capable of doing something like these. So let's just get started here. It's probably easier for me to show you how to play than to try to explain the rules. So you're going to start off by putting down cards onto your coaster like so. The cards are face down, so they have the pattern side on the back, the flower, the skulls on the other side. And then the other player is going to put down their card, and another player puts down their card, and then the player puts down their card, and now we go back to the beginning. Now that everybody's put down 1 card, when it comes to the red player's turn, they have a choice. They can either say how many cards they think they can reveal without revealing a skull, or they are going to put another card down. So they're not feeling very confident, so they're going to put down a card. And now the yellow players may be feeling a little less confident, so they're going to put down a card, as is green, as is purple. So now come back to the red player. The red player says, you know what? I am going to make a bet. I think I can reveal 3 cards without revealing a skull. Now the yellow player has to either call them on that, or they have to increase that number, say that they're going to find a higher number of flowers without revealing a skull. So they said 3, the yellow player says 4. The trick is though, whatever number you say, you have to reveal all of your cards. So if you have put down a skull, you don't want to get caught with that skull. So they'll say 4, and then the yellow player, green player, maybe green player thinks maybe the green player has put down a skull, so they don't want to go. So they'll say 4 is fine. So the yellow player says 4, they reveal, and they have 2 skulls. Oh, so they have the skull and the flowers. So the skull means that they have failed in their bet, and they are out. So they are going to not out. They're going to lose one of their cards randomly. So the other players aren't going to know that they've lost their skull. They're always going to be guessing as to whether that skull is gone or not. You know, when somebody loses a card, unless you see it in a future turn, you're always wondering whether the skull card is gone or not. So the yellow player ended last turn, so we'll go on to the green player, purple player, red player, and yellow player. Now the green player may say 2, and the purple player says go for it. So they reveal they have 1 and 2. So they've done it. They've achieved what they wanted to achieve. So in this case, now what happens? All the boards get reset, except the green player flips theirs over. This indicates they are halfway to victory. By giving the number of flowers they thought they could reveal without revealing a skull, and then successfully revealing that number of flowers, that allows them to flip that tile over. If they do that a second time, they have won the game. The other way that the game could be won, which is very unlikely, is if all the other players were unsuccessful in their bids enough that they lost all of their cards and only one player had cards left. In all the games I've played of this, and I've played quite a few, I've never seen that happen. So usually what's going to happen is one player will eventually have done this twice. And that is how you play Skull. So Skull is a game which, if you're going to be trying to use it in the classroom, as I showed you, would be more about probability. And as I explained when I showed it to you in terms of how the game is played, there is some probability elements that you could certainly have students talk about. You know, maybe even in simple terms, like this is unlikely or likely, it is highly likely. You can start to figure out when those people have the thing, so you can start to say, well, it's impossible for this. You know, there is certain, you could use just probability terminology rather than getting right down to percentages or fractions or things, which you could also do at higher levels. But as I say, I wouldn't want to spoil the fun of the game by trying to be too over analytical with it. But it has those opportunities to just sort of practice some of the probability skills in there. This would be, like I say, more for the indoor recess or for a board game club. This would be perfect for those kinds of things, especially like for a board game club, because it can accommodate a high number of players at 6 and relatively inexpensive, so you can be buying more games for the club. If you are new to the channel, then what I'm doing is I'm putting out content on a weekly basis to make sure that I'm always giving fresh content to you, the viewer. I do reviews on games and talk about their uses in the classroom. I talk about things like gamification and game-based learning in the theoretical sense and how those can be applied into learning situations, either at school or at home. And I review books which talk about these subjects of gamification, game-based learning, just anything to do with education and gaming and how we can make learning more fun, which, as I always say, is my mantra. I teach the way I wish I was taught. I'm a teacher with the Peel District School Board, and I have been for the last 20-something years, and I always have believed that gamification and game-based learning has played a big part in my role as an educator, and will continue to do so until I retire and even after that. So I just think that this is, you know, such a great way to be learning, and I want to share what I know with you, the viewer. If you have any ideas for anything, please remember to hit the comments down below. Leave me a message and I will be sure to get back to you. I love to get messages from the viewers because then it helps me to give fresh content for the channel. While you're down there, please don't forget to hit like and subscribe. It really does help. Well, that is going to wrap it up for today. Until next time, I am Craig Thompson-Wood, your host on Teaching with Board Games, saying thanks for coming to the classroom.
Are you coming back to school?